Greetings and welcome everyone to my channel. Come on in and make yourselves at home. My name is Marilu from Northern Illinois, and I'm creating this channel to focus on the millennial reign of Christ and the hazards and joys of living in the little season. I have written down a few notes here, which I'm probably going to be reading from. I am the author of the Book of Nakalah, the first ever millennial reign novel. I hope there are more in the future, as I would like to read how others envision this 1,000 years of peace and plenty ruled by the King of Kings. In order to get the word out, I found it necessary to learn a little tech. Um, just remember that in the 50s, on the farm, our party line telephone was pretty high tech, and we were all very happy to have a phone. Of course, you had to listen to other people sometimes, but that was okay. We had a way to communicate. So we considered that high tech. I think we might have got a color television in the 60s. So, as most of you know, we got a lot of other things in the 60s, mostly a huge cultural revolution. That was the eve of destruction, time when I started to write fiction. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the book of Nakalah. It is a trilogy. The first book was published last fall. The second one is in the process. And the last one is up to chapter 5, rough draft. So I'm working on that little by little. The Nakalah is the word for inheritance. It's a Hebrew word for inheritance. There's so many books that have the word inheritance in them that I decided when I named this book that I would go with the Hebrew word for inheritance. Um, now, it starts out with a modern day family in Appalachia, and they, for generations, have known that this airship was crashed in the mountains there, and the children all go over there and play in it and stuff. And there was a box in there that really didn't have any seams in it, and they really couldn't figure out how to open it. But eventually, they found out how to open it. And there was some paperwork in there. There was some music in there too. But they were interested in having this translated, but they were afraid to let go of it. So when fax came out, not fax, but they could make a copy. They eventually made a copy, and then they took it to different universities and tried to find somebody who looked at that and thought, well, that was familiar enough, they could translate it. So they got it translated, and they decided to share it with the public. The airship was really in pretty good shape. It was covered with kudzu, and children were always warned, don't go over there and play in that, but they did anyway. So our fictional character, Ruth Nathanson, was one of those children. And she finally got it translated, and now she's publishing the story, okay? So in the story, is a family that is an extended family that's living in the millennial reign of Christ. Two of the main characters lived during the crucifixion of the Messiah and his subsequent resurrection and ascension. They saw him come back in clouds of glory. So my friend Meredith and Cindy have also gotten caught up in this fictional world, and that we've built. I would say it's built now. It's built now. It's too far gone to go back and change anything. Although I've gotten more information about different things and wished, this is where I was at the time. So, it's good. It's very good, and I felt inspired to write this, and I was just a little bit obsessed. So, but I guess that's what happens. So, what is Meredith's role? She is a consultant. She's always ready to bounce ideas off of, and she has some of her own. Mostly, she just tells me what is possible or impossible with the parameters that we've set. And we've come across some things, and so Meredith has caught some some pretty big mistakes that I would have made without her there as a consultant. And Cindy, she's an artist. So she uses her own imagination to envision these characters and then draw portraits of them and also of the technology. So any art that you see surrounding this book is from Cindy. So I'm going to be talking about the creation of this imaginary, mystical world, and maybe a little bit about how it was put together. I'm hoping that, Meredith and I talk all the time, and why not record what we're talking about? And sometimes we'll get a little bit carried away because these characters are very real to us. And I know that I dreamed about a lot of them. I would wake up in the morning and have the next scene already ready to go and write. It was just it was just there. So we're trying to reach people, and not necessarily people that think that we are living in the little season and that the millennial reign is past, but other people, anyone could sit down and enjoy this book. So that's what we're hoping to reach people in a different way. Okay, so um, this video is really, really, really not my way of communicating with you. I like to write, and I like to write fiction. So that's how I would really like to communicate with you. But if you don't know that these books exist, how can you read them? So that's the main thrust of this. So I hope you tune in. I hope it's interesting enough that you want to tune in and listen to what we have to say. We will have different guests, and we're just going to be focusing on a little season, and also, about what it's like living uh, in the little season, and but what the millennial reign may have been like. So, I'm hoping to learn. I'm still in the process, so I'm hoping to gather more information maybe for book 3, which will be the end of it. I have a general idea of how the series is going to end. So, anyway, I hope you will join us, and I hope you can enjoy what we have to say and be entertained by it. Okay? Thank you. Bye bye.